The 21st ODST Space Assault Battalion was a specialized unit that served in Operation Silent Storm. They were led by Colonel Marmon Crowther. Crowther was a middle-aged man, slender but short, olive-toned, with black hair and a bluish-gray eye color. He was, for the most part, a by-the-book commander, though not inflexible, and a soldier of integrity. The 21st were nicknamed the Black Daggers, and before they ever fought the Covenant, they were an experienced and effective tool against the colonial insurrection. In 2525, they raided and captured 18 rebel facilities, all of which were situated in conditions where Black Daggers thrived. As one may guess from their official designation, those conditions were exo-atmospheric 0G. Some veteran Black Daggers had taken part in hundreds of combat engagements, and overall they were a well-known military unit. On or prior to March 7, 2526, the 21st was selected as part of the aforementioned Silent Storm, a mission to set back the Covenant invasion fleet through boarding their ships and planting tactical nukes within, as well as halting the aliens' advance in any way possible. Colonel Crowther learned of the nature of the operation the following day, March 8th, and was a little incredulous at first. However, with a little encouragement from his superiors, he came around to the idea soon enough, and the operation was underway. 12 Spartans, consisting of John 117's Blue Team, Joshua 029's Gold Team, and Kurt 051's Green Team, were attached to the Black Daggers for Silent Storm. One Sergeant Avery Johnson was also present and attached to the Spartan group, though he also functioned in an advisory role to the 21st with his experience in fighting the Covenant on Harvest. They were all a part of Task Force Yama, an all-prowler force consisting of roughly 15 vessels. They would first go to the Biko planetary system, where the Covenant were predicted to strike next. Between March 8th and March 18th, 2526, during Task Force Yama's slip-space journey to the operation's chosen staging ground on Biko's frigid moon, Seba, the Black Daggers trained against the Spartans in 0G arenas. This turned out to be a test of the mettle of both sides. As time went on, Colonel Crowther began to place the Spartans in more and more challenging combat scenarios, and the Daggers learned to counter their super soldier opponents. In a situation with 5 Black Daggers to every 1 Spartan, the latter became vulnerable to elimination. In a 12-to-1 disadvantage for the Spartans, an ODST victory was a real possibility. Very impressive. On the date of their arrival at Seba, which held an abandoned ice quarry previously believed to be free real estate, Task Force Yama discovered that insurrectionists had gathered in the quarry to rally for a coup against the Biko government, and unbeknownst to them at the time, something more devious. With some, though not excessive, casualties, and the assistance of the Spartan teams, the 21st was able to swiftly overrun and vanquish the insurrectionist forces on the moon's surface, taking upwards of 300 prisoners by the end. As predicted, a Covenant fleet arrived at Biko. This happened on March 20th, 2526. Several Black Dagger groups apparently attempted to board their vessels in accordance with Silent Storm mission parameters, though the enemy fleet was cognizant of recent human boarding action offensives, and had at first held its fighter complement in close formation around the larger vessels, thus preventing any potential boarding action. Despite a weakening of this formation due to the Covenant's engagement of the Biko defense fleet, the Black Daggers were still largely unsuccessful in their attempts to board and destroy enemy ships. At this time, the Spartans had been sent on a separate mission to a Covenant logistics fleet elsewhere. Several members of the 21st were captured aboard a vessel known as the Purifying Flame, and subsequently tortured and mutilated by Chirohanai interrogators for what little information they would give up on Silent Storm. The Covenant were aware of the operation thanks to insurrectionist spies. The 21st had also lost in excess of 400 troopers to both battles in the Biko planetary system, and Task Force Yama had lost 7 prowlers. A little over a week later, a Covenant supply world was discovered by Dr. Catherine Halsey, who used a stolen Covenant star chart to locate the closest major logistics depot for the Covenant invasion fleet. This planet, provisionally designated Naraka, became the next target for Silent Storm and the 21st Space Assault Battalion. 2 prowler groups were sent to hit the supply depot on April 14th, 2526. Dagger Force, which consisted of Task Force Commander Hector Nieto's Ghost Flight Prowlers, as well as a few other surviving prowlers from the Battle of Biko, and Sierra Force, which consisted of 4 prowlers and held the 3 Spartan teams and a complement of Black Daggers. By this time, Hector Nieto was suspected of being an insurrectionist spy who had been trying to get the Spartans killed. Colonel Crowther and Sergeant Johnson attempted to relieve Nieto of command of the task force, a position he had inherited from the previous commander, Halima Ascot, who had been killed at Seba. This occurred on April 15th, while Dagger Force was waiting for the arrival of Sierra Force at Naraka. Crowther and the sergeant were, regrettably, unsuccessful, as the crews of the Ghost Flight were all rebel sleeper agents. Colonel Crowther was shot in the head and killed while attempting to arrest Hector Nieto aboard the prowler Ghost Song, and Sergeant Johnson was forced to retreat. The Ghost Flight prowlers also ejected their load of 243 Black Daggers into space and tried to lure Naraka's Covenant defense vessels into where Sierra Force was supposed to be waiting. This they failed to do, as the Spartans were also aware of Nieto's treachery and had emerged from slipspace at a different location than originally planned. After managing to eject Sergeant Johnson and 5 remaining Black Daggers into space, the Ghost Song and the other prowlers in Ghost Flight fled the system. The remaining prowlers of Dagger Force were still UNSC loyal, and completed their part in the operation by sending members of the 21st to board and destroy local enemy outposts, thus creating a distraction for Sierra Force's troops to infiltrate their main target, a gigantic fleet support ring which encircled Naraka. The next part of the assault proved to be the most deadly for the Black Daggers of Sierra Force. Dagger Force's distraction failed to draw away the Covenant defense net, so Sierra Force was unable to reach the orbital ring directly, and instead opted for a ground insertion. Massive spires visible from space appeared to connect the ring to the surface. These were believed to be space elevators, which the members of Sierra intended to use. However, 2 of their 4 prowlers were ambushed upon entering the planet's atmosphere and forced to retreat. The other prowler, which reached the ground, crashed after delivering at least some of its troops, though all of the Spartans survived, as did a number of Black Daggers. Only the prowler Black Widow, which held Blue Team and a platoon of ODSTs, was able to make a complete insertion run. As this remainder of Sierra Force's infantry contingent made their way to the Covenant space elevator, the platoon of Black Daggers fought with valor beside the Master Chief's Blue Team. When they reached the top of the elevator, the ODSTs were asked to provide a rolling screen offensive against the enemy response teams in order for Blue Team to reach the transit tube connecting all of the ring's facilities. This strategy cost the lives of most of the platoon, but 6 survivors were able to reach the transit system along with Blue Team. The Spartans moved rapidly through the huge support structure, aiming to destroy enough facilities to cause a critical destabilization of the ring. The Black Daggers followed at a slower pace to plant tubs of octanitrocubane explosives. They repeated this for 6 of the facilities before their numbers dwindled to 0, leaving only the Spartans to continue onward. By this time, it was known that Green Team and their accompanying ODSTs had managed to destroy 3 of the support stations. The platoon under Blue Team did not die in vain. The Spartans were able to destroy a final section of the ring, causing it to become fully destabilized, and sending its fractured pieces plummeting to the surface of Naraka. This was not the last that the Covenant heard of the Black Daggers. Each of the ODSTs in Sierra Force had carried 2 octanitrocubane, Octa, explosive tubs to detonate automatically in an hour, in case the soldier carrying them were killed or the devices themselves were captured. Several of the troopers who had been with Green Team were taken prisoner and brought aboard the Covenant defense fleet at Naraka. Bad mistake for the Coveys. The Octas detonated, obliterating the fleet. Sergeant Johnson and all 243 Black Daggers evacuated by Ghost Flight were picked up by the prowler Nightwatch, as well as a couple of Sierra Force survivors along with Spartan teams Green and Blue. While the Spartans and Sergeant Johnson were celebrating the victory at Naraka, the remaining Black Daggers, having suffered devastating losses during Operation Silent Storm, held a memorial service aboard the prowler Hush Now, a fitting title for a somber gathering. It is currently unknown what became of the 21st ODST Space Assault Battalion. Their unit was invaluable in these early battles against the Covenant war machine, and they were possibly among the next best things to Spartans that the UNSC possessed infantry-wise. Their commander also played a vital role in the maturation of John 117's attitude and character, which I've covered briefly in my previous video on Silent Storm. They were valorous, even as they lost so much so soon into the human Covenant conflict. With Colonel Crowther gone, it is also unknown who would step in to lead the 21st Black Daggers. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like and comment down below on what you think of the Black Daggers. Also let me know if there's a part of the Halo universe you'd like me to cover next. As always, until next time.